Hi friendies, and thank you for clicking on this video. Today's video is something that is like a sequel to one of my previous videos, horrible business decision of makeup brands, but perhaps a little bit more vague. But honestly, I'm like so tired of this. I'm filled with rage, and I honestly feel like these brands, these makeup brands and beauty brands need to stop. I just can't even, at this point, I just want to list those horrible incidents, these horrible situations and horrible things that brands come up with, which are offensive, and I just want to list them and sit like this, silent. But I'll try talking about them. And the first thing that happened that is horrible and disgusting is that a new indie brand, Andata Cosmetics or Andata, I don't know, came up or is still coming up. I assume it's a very, very new release, might not even be out yet. Yes, so they're coming up with a plantation eyeshadow palette. Again, it's like one of those things when connotation matters, and to me connotation always matters because every word has it, and words are not evil themselves, words are not stones literally, but everyone has a connotation and a meaning behind it and a history behind it. So I just don't get this one. Why would you do this? Why would you call it like that? It's just like I don't think it even has any sense to explain why is it wrong, because it's obvious. Maybe the brand owners wanted to make it about nature and the garden, but also when I saw a post about that palette, some people were commenting that apparently plantations are those fancy places nowadays in the south of the US. They are reclaimed by the white people who turn them into some kind of resorts and have literal weddings at those plantations. So I guess that's what the south of the US is. I've never been to that continent whatsoever, but my general conception of the south of the US are pretty well summed up in the TV show that I've seen, which is called Sharp Objects, which is based on a book that I also read, but it all kind of makes sense. In that TV show, it's very rich South is represented, rich white South. I just the thing that puzzles me, you are a brand, you're trying to sell your things to people. What's your motivation behind those, again, business decisions? I just can't understand this one. Another thing regarding a name and a beauty product really personally upset me. This is an indie nail polish British brand called England. Honestly, I was very interested in this brand even before I became a huge makeup junkie. I even had a online wish list, and that brand was on my wish list, but safe to say not anymore. This brand is not on my wish list anymore, and I will not buy it from it ever. Just my civil position. But what happened is that this nail polish brand has released a new collection based on British subcultures. Some names are referring to the subcultures like mod, some are very vague names like Pride Without Prejudice, but let's just get to the point. They named a nail polish Skinhead. I was shocked when I saw that. I felt like personally traumatized, so to say. But I went ahead to look up the information. Maybe it's just me, you know. And what I have found out is basically the original skinhead subculture was about like representing working class and all of that. It was not like politically motivated, and there was no nationalist, Nazist, fascist, racist agenda. But later it became so. In the 70s, the skinheads became associated and became displaying their white supremacist views, and became known as a very violent, racist subculture, even in the UK, where it all originated, of course, and this subculture attacked violently Pakistani people. A couple of comments from the original Instagram post of the brand proves that this UK person has experienced that in the 70s, 80s, and had a personal experiences. But what also happened is that this skinhead, white supremacist, fascist movement spread all over Europe, in the Eastern Europe, Germany, Finland, my country, Russia, a lot of countries basically, maybe safe to say all across Europe, especially perhaps where people with like white blonde hair, light complexions, light eyes are common. And the subculture is known for violent attacks, racism, beatings, murders, beating someone to death because of their nationality, attacking immigrants, all of that. And even if you're take away the ethical aspect of naming nail polish like that is wrong. I mean, if this word is associated with pain and fear in the person's mind, they will just not buy it based on their subconscious perceivance. Is that a word? Perceivance? The owner's position is that she wants to like reclaim the subculture, because like originally when they just started, they were not like racially motivated, but I 100% think it's tone deaf and it's offensive, even though I'm not saying like she did it on purpose, but like you are a brand, you should know better. I feel like this kind of felt personal to me, because me like not having the typical like my region, I like don't have the typical look of like blonde hair, blue eyes, like light eyes. I have like this appearance, ethnically ambiguous, so to say. It's like not a Russian type of look, even though like it's a big country and there are people of all races, but white supremacists wouldn't care about the inclusivity, would they? So I was always scared of something like that happened to me. When I was like younger, when I was like a kid, a teen, I was always scared of like being beat or thrown under the train, because of the way I look, because it's like not a white person situation. I always felt self-conscious about that, and I received some mocking about who I am or my alleged ethnicity, even though I've never experienced anything violent or any direct bullying based on my appearance. But the thing is that I don't identify with any type of a nationality other than the one that I have by my passport, because my father like my mother is like a blonde Slavic woman with blue eyes, and my father is not, and he is not Russian, but he never raised me. He left my mother even when she was pregnant, before she gave birth, and I never identified with that part of my family, and I only met my father when I was already 18 years old, when I was already of legal age. My point is that I even never encountered any violence or bullying, direct bullying, but still that word just subconsciously causes like fear and pain, and that's what I associate it with like being scared. And that's like white supremacists who shave their hair, they head bald, and they're like have a specific like look to them, the fashion, which is the skinhead subculture in its finest. They have always existed, and they are identifying by that subculture, and they exist even now when they beat up people who don't look a certain way. And yeah, completely tone deaf, offensive. I get it that she wants to reclaim the subculture, which was like originally meant to be like super virtuous, but funny how in this time of like racism, wars, the planet is dying, you're taking the time of your day and your energy to reclaim skinhead subculture. I mean, you do you. It's your brand, it's your views,